The patch is live that fixes the SimConnect issues that we've been having since release. And with that, it's time to check out the best offline ATC. Is it still the one? We'll see in this video. Hey guys, Clumsy here, and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator. As you guys might know, in some of my older videos with Explain, I have been very much a fan of Pilot2ATC. It's an offline application, a separate paid application, which looks like this. But it's a very comprehensive offline ATC, so if you're not working with like VATSIM multiplayer and just want to fly on your own but want to still get ATC coverage wherever you go, then Pilot2ATC is my go-to application. And I'm happy to announce that with the recent fix, the recent update from Microsoft Flight Sim, Pilot2ATC is now compatible, no more stutters, no more performance problems with SimConnect, FSU IPC, and all that stuff. Anyway, I won't go through the detail in this video. I can go through a more detailed tutorial in a succeeding one if you guys like. Let me know in the comments. But for now, I'd like to first showcase what this app can do and how it compares with the default ATC offering, right? Anyway, alright, so we have the plane started. I have not really plugged anything yet. It's going to be a very short flight, only around 30 miles from Lima Foxtrot Quebec Bravo to Lima Foxtrot Oscar Kilo, somewhere to the east of France. Okay, immediately we will already see the limitation of the simulator right now. So I wanted to do an ILS-28 approach to Lima Foxtrot Oscar Kilo, and we can choose that here, ILS-28. But the problem is there's only one transition that it shows here, and there should be at least two basing on the charts. So either the sim data is outdated or it's just buggy. Either way, it doesn't work. So if I show you the chart of ILS-28, that is how it should be. So the one that it's seeing, the transition is Kelon right here. But there should also be an option for a direct approach. Like if you're going to be vectored in by ATC, which is what we'll be doing. So we'll try to leverage ATC so that they'll vector us. That means they'll give us the headings. They'll guide us towards this approach fix here. So we won't have to rely on other waypoints. But at the moment in the sim, it's not possible to portray in the flight plan. So if we pick that and, for example, load it up, I want to go directly to that approach fix right here, but it's going to make me go through Kelon. So we might not have to not follow this. Right? So that's a bit of the limitation right now, but that's in the sim. The good thing is it should work with the charts and with the Pilot2ATC. So the charts and Pilot2ATC should be synchronized. So from that point of view, we should get all the proper altitude restrictions, the proper waypoints and everything. It's just that the sim will be a bit left behind, if that makes sense. Alright, anyway, let's go ahead and start the engine. Boost pump goes on. Ignition is on. Should get some annunciations here. Starter, ignition, couple of warnings. NG rising. Throttle to low idle. Let that build up. And just ignore these two guys in front of us. They won't go no matter what I do. Wait for that to get to around 50% NG. 52%. Go to flight idle, turn on inertial separator, bleeds to auto, nav lights on, and over here, aux boost pump to auto, fuel selector to auto, AP and trims to on, oxygen for the pilot is on, even though we won't really need that. We'll not be flying high today. Alright, so first and foremost, we would need to get clearance. Now this airport doesn't have its own tower, but what we can do is tune into the center, I guess, or the approach, one of these, and if ever we get one of the wrong frequencies, So this app synchronizes with the simulator, and it gets the frequencies that the simulator will recognize. So if we look at these frequencies, these are all proper. So for example, the ATIS, if I tune into the ATIS, I have that tuned in COM2.
Barbary information Delta 10 Zulu winds are calm. Visibility 6 miles.
So we get something like an
Sky
ATIS
condition
level
VFR.
there. It's a bit buggy at the moment, not perfectly synchronized, but I think that's something to do with the sim. It's just synchronized the altimeter there, the QNH. And we can tune into 118.05 in the meantime to get our clearance. So what that does here, if I show you the app, so it detects that we've tuned into 118.05, and then what I can say is I have options here. I can either talk using my microphone, and it will recognize my voice using the Windows recognition, speech recognition. And if it understands that well enough, then it will respond to me. Or I can also do something like this, request clearance, and just click on this and then say it. You know, it's either way. You can also hear a bit of radio in there. That's a separate plugin. That's an ATC chatter just to increase the realism when you're tuned into a radio frequency. Just babbles on random communications like that. So let's do a push to talk. Let's see if the app can recognize my voice. TBM1 Charlie Lima, ready to copy IFR clearance.
TBM1 Charlie Lima
It
is
did.
cleared to Lima Foxtrot Oscar Kilo as filed. Expect departure runway 17. Maintain 3,000 feet.
3,000
6433.
3,000 feet and squawk 6433. Now I can read all that back, or I can just say it, this button.
TBM1 Charlie Lima
And my
is cleared to
co-pilot
Lima Foxtrot
will
Oscar
take care
Kilo
of
as
reading it
filed,
back.
maintain 3,000 feet, squawk 6433.
So 6433.
TBM1 Charlie Lima read back correct. Contact center on 118.05 for IFR release when number 1 for departure.
Center on 118.05 for IFR release TBM1 Charlie Lima.
Good. Right, that sounds good. Normally we would tune in back to traffic just to show our intentions to the other planes in this airport. So we would do that and say something like TBM1 Charlie Lima taxiing runway 17, something along those lines. Okay, that looks good. Set the flaps for takeoff. Later, as we are going to start our departure, before we take off, we'll switch back to the frequency, the approach frequency, so we can get our proper IFR clearance. Close your eyes. We'll have to go through some, guys. Nothing happened, guys. All right, taxi lights will go on. The runway is actually here. Let's go ahead and align the heading bug. 173 degrees. 173 degrees should be that way. There you go. So runway 17 is to the right, so we'll have to back taxi a bit. So we can announce to nobody, well, anyway, everyone on this traffic. TBM1 Charlie Lima departing runway 17 to the north. Something traffic. Not sure if the procedure is different in Europe, in France, but I guess it should be mostly similar, save for a few different phraseologies. But then the important thing is getting in touch with ATC later. So let's do that. Landing lights on. Flaps are set to take off. Trims for takeoff. Looking good. Back taxi all the way to the end here, and let's switch back to the center. 118.05. And then I think what we can say is IFR release. So there are different phrases that you can choose here. So I chose IFR release and request IFR release.
TBM1 Charlie Lima request IFR release runway 17 at Lima Foxtrot Quebec Bravo.
TBM1 Charlie Lima, you are released for departure. Runway 17 after takeoff turn left to heading 360, then proceed direct Charlie India to 8, climb and maintain 3,000 feet. Release for departure void at 0202 Zulu, advise with alternate intentions no later than 0207 Zulu, time now is 0155 Zulu.
See how detailed that is?
TBM1 Charlie Lima released for departure runway 17 after takeoff turn left to heading 360, then direct Charlie India 28, climb and maintain 3,000 feet. Release for departure void at 0202 Zulu.
TBM1 Charlie Lima released for departure after takeoff turn left to heading 360.
Released for departure after takeoff turn left to heading 360 TBM1 Charlie Lima.
That's exactly the
TBM1
kind
Charlie
of
Lima to sustain approach on
instruction
118.05. Please repeat your request.
that I'm expecting from air traffic control, although it is quite buggy as you saw there. Wasn't able to recognize when we set it back. Right, so it just says we continue departing via, we are cleared, we take off via runway 17. Here, keep center line. 90 knots is our rotation speed. Let's keep at it. And it says, alright, 90 knots. Rotate. Positive rate, gear up. And what did they say? They say after takeoff turn left heading 360, right? So it said after we take off like this, we turn left to heading 360, which is basically saying turn to the north. And then they'll give us proper instructions. So they said turn to the north heading 360 and then head straight to the waypoint, which is the initial approach fix of the ILS. And that's going to be a bit tricky because for us, that waypoint is right there, which we don't really see where it is. So we'll have to kind of eyeball it a bit. And the good thing here is if you do something wrong, ATC will recognize that actually, and it will guide you. It will tell you you're off course, head this way. So we'll probably hear that in a bit. So what we can do is just head north here and see how things will go. Right, so let's go to heading mode here, autopilot. Just keep that rate of climb like so. We'll keep everything on, inertial separator, landing lights will be on because we'll only be flying off at 3,000 feet. Alright, so let's wait for further instructions. I'm expecting after some time it will detect that it's actually not going to level off here. Altitude, so we level off at 3,000 feet. Perfect. So if I show you the waypoint that the ATC, Pilot2ATC is expecting, yeah, it's expecting us to head north and then intercept the course here straight to the initial approach fix, which is there. So what we're doing right now is we're just heading north, but we're not following that waypoint. So after a while, after we've deviated after some time away from this waypoint that they're expecting, they should vector us right back to where it is proper. And just to highlight that better, let me maybe make it a bit farther. So let me face away from that waypoint they're expecting so that they can detect faster that we're headed the wrong way. So we'll wait for further instructions.
TBM1 Charlie Lima, contact sane approach on 120.32. Enjoy.
112 decimal, and then we can say TBM1 Charlie Lima, say again.
TBM1 Charlie Lima, contact sane approach on 120.32. Enjoy.
112 112 Why can I not track that?
Approach on 120.32 dBm 1 Charlie Lima.
Why is that so far away from what I heard? 120.32. There you go. Transfer that. And then we can say here TBM 1 Charlie Lima at 3,000 feet.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima turn right heading 048 vectors to the ILS approach for runway 28 at VATRY maintain 3,000 feet. TBM 1 Charlie Lima turn right heading 048. TBM 1 Charlie Lima good morning. Squawk 6433.
Alright, so we've been given a couple of instructions there, all in rapid succession. One bug that I noticed with the integration, even though you set 6433 here and say altitude reporting, Pilot2ATC doesn't detect that. So you have to like move this to
TBM 1 Charlie Lima
out,
radar contact.
and then they will have radar contact with you. So it's a bit manual. But yeah, so we've been
TBM 1
given
Charlie Lima turn right heading 063.
063.
Heading 063 dBm 1 Charlie Lima.
So now, even though we have been flying off course, they'll be trying to vector us. So they'll point the way, they'll tell us where to go exactly, so that we land exactly on that spot on the initial approach fix. And while that's working, while that's going on, we can go ahead and consult our charts here. So this is how it works in an IFR flight. Should get proper instructions from air traffic control, and this is exactly what we're getting right now. So let's go ahead and tune in the ILS here. Frequency would be 109.55 for the ILS 28. So if I go through here in the navcom, go to audios and radio, nav 1, and of course I forgot already what that was. Let's bring that back. 109.55. 109.55. Transfer that. That becomes the active for nav 1. You can go ahead and mark that here. So it does detect that. It says that the ILS it's detecting is Charlie Victor Lima. Is that the right identifier? If you consult the chart, it says Charlie Victor Lima, so exactly tracking the right ILS there. It says we are 14 miles away from the ILS. So that's a good sign. Alright, so let's continue. And we'll see how that works. Okay, so right now we're completely ignoring the GPS instructions, this flight plan that the simulator is doing, because it doesn't make sense for what we want. But nonetheless, because we have ATC coverage, proper ATC coverage, and we have charts, so we are still able to fly properly. Hopefully. We'll see how that works later as we do our approach. So, too early to call it yet. We do see the glide slope in there now. Glide slope starting to appear, so that's a good sign that we've captured the right ILS frequency. As we turn to final, as we turn towards that point, then it should become clearer. And actually, because I'm going heading mode here and I'm not really using this FMS, what I can actually do is go immediately to lock 1 already, to the localizer. So this one is already detecting that the localizer, we are to the right of it, but we are off. So that makes sense, because later as we turn into that approach there, then we will be able to capture the localizer here. Alright, so but that's looking good. Currently we are in heading mode, so we don't really need the flight plan FMS. In terms of the course of the ILS, that is automatic at the moment. The ideal course should be 280 here, based on the charts.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima turn left heading 048.
048.
Heading 048 dBm 1 Charlie Lima.
There we go. So the 281 course, I don't think you can change yet. Normally you should be able to change that here, but yeah, the sim doesn't support that yet. Good thing is mostly the course, automatic course that they set is accurate, so that's thankful that it's not too far off, only 1-2 degrees off. It should not be that bad. Alright, but looking good here. Let me double check on the plane. Flaps are up. Heaters are on. Inertial separator is still on. Everything looks good. Landing lights are still on. Yes, okay. So yeah, this will just be a very short flight to highlight the features of Pilot2ATC and how much more detailed and accurate it is compared to the current simulator, the built-in ATC in the sim, which is as expected. After all, this is payware. Pilot2ATC is quite pricey. It's actually like a AAA game. I think, if I remember correctly, it's around $60. I bought it before for X-Plane, and I'm glad that I can use it now again for a different sim. That's the advantage of having a third-party application. It persists even if you cross over to a different simulator, which is very fortunate for us flight sim enthusiasts. And of course, the best way is still VATSIM or IVEO, those multiplayer air traffic control systems. But those are a bit limited in my use case because I usually fly in the midnight of Europe time. So if I want to fly in Europe, probably no one is awake anymore. And usually I fly in Asia, where air traffic control
TBM1
is
Charlie Lima turn left heading 011.
almost non-existent. So 011, so we are being vectored in bit by bit. And so for those use cases, and if you're just shy like me, you don't like to play multiplayer, you want to play single player but still get ATC coverage, then this is the perfect app personally. Right, 011, let's go and zoom in here.
TBM1 Charlie Lima cleared for ILS to runway 28 fly heading 312 to intercept final descent and maintain 2,500 feet.
Good.
Cleared for ILS approach to runway 28 fly heading 312 descend and maintain 2,500 feet. TBM1 Charlie Lima.
2,500. Start descending here. So that heading 312 drives us exactly to intercept the localizer. So once we're at 312, we should be able to press the approach, turn the approach mode on here, and it will say it's captured the localizer.
TBM1 Charlie Lima altimeter 3012 at BATRY contact tower on 129.4. Have a good morning.
129.4.
Altimeter 3012 tower on 129.4 TBM1 Charlie Lima.
129.4. Transfer that one. And let's say, what do we say? Let me try my mic again. TBM1 Charlie Lima inbound for ILS 28.
TBM1 Charlie Lima, good morning. Radar contact. Continue ILS to runway call when established on final.
Isn't that cool? You can actually use her voice.
Continue ILS
Or
to
you can
runway
use this
will
one.
call when established on final. TBM1 Charlie Lima.
Right, that looks good. Let's get one notch of flaps here. So you can see the glide slope coming close to us. What I'd learned from Steve Okinivo, who flies a real TBM 850, is he usually lowers the landing gear when the glide slope, the diamond there, is like one dot away from the center. It's a good practice, so we'll follow that. So now that it's one bar away, one dot away, lower the landing gears, keep your hand there until all three green lights have indicated. Looking good. Alright, there we go. And now we are waiting for the glide slope to be captured. There it is. And now we can report to ATC. TBM1 Charlie Lima established on ILS 28.
TBM1 Charlie Lima, winds are light and variable, cleared to land runway.
Clear to land runway 28, TBM1 Charlie Lima. That is beautiful. Right, so let's slow down here to 122 knots or lower. And with that, we have speed checked. We can go ahead and go full flaps for landing. And that takes us forward. What I also want to highlight later once we land is the taxi procedure, because with Pilot2ATC synchronizing perfectly with Navigraph, it has complete and accurate picture of the airport, and so you get the proper taxiways as well. So we'll test later how that works. So this is the airport diagram. That's the airport diagram. We're landing runway 28, so we'll probably exit via Alpha 2 and then taxi, I don't know where, but we'll see where ground will lead us to. Okay, let's go down here. Approach is looking good. The missed approach will actually need to climb straight ahead at VOR, turn right. Couple of different missed approach procedures here. I did not really brief that nor study it. Let's skip that for now. Shouldn't do that, but just for the purpose of this illustration, let's focus on what Pilot2ATC can do. And yes, it can also detect if you do a missed approach or report that, and then they'll ask you to change frequencies to approach and fly a certain heading or follow the procedure. So it's very detailed, and it's a constant work in progress. When bugs are found, the developer, I think Dave is his name if I remember correctly, of Pilot2ATC, he acts on it and releases an update. So I'm not sure about the wind. I think winds should be mostly calm. Let's see here. Just, yeah, 1 knot. That's basically calm winds. Okay, that looks good. I should be able to... Do we need to set minimums? I'll leave that be for now. Because it is a good weather. We have good weather after all, and I can see the runway perfectly. Turning off the autopilot. Turning off the yaw damper. Let's try to land this on our own. Keep the glide slope in the center. Keep 85 knots for the proper approach speed for this plane. It's looking good. Also, I have not tested yet, but Pilot2ATC should have visibility of on the other planes as well, the AI planes. I'm not sure if it also has visibility on the actual players, but I'll test that as we go, and we'll see if it can route us along and detect those other traffic. Normally it could say that, like report traffic in sight and things like that. Here we go. Slow down here. Bit late. Just let it float along. There we go. Very subtle landing. Plenty of runway to go. Let's go on and get the reversers in. I'm waiting for my location in the sim. There we are. Okay, it detects where I am. So let me show you where we are. That's the runway. That's where we are. So we're planning to exit via... Well, we can exit through here. But we can also go straight onto Alpha 2 and exit through there. Now normally, ATC would detect that we have landed already, and it would tell us to report when we are clear of the runway. But right now, it hasn't done that yet, which is interesting. Alright, let's continue on. But yeah, I'm so happy that Pilot2ATC is working now again. Thanks to that latest patch from Microsoft Flight Simulator. They fixed the SimConnect issues that we've been having, the performance issues, the huge stutters, when you're trying to connect to other third-party applications. So that's very much welcome indeed. Here we are. Turn off here. Flaps up. Landing lights can go off. Taxi lights is what we need. And pitot heater can go off. Acknowledge the warning. And then once we're clear of this line, we can say, let's try if ATC will recognize. TBM 1 Charlie Lima, clear of active.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, welcome to Vetri contact ground on 131.4. Enjoy your stay.
131.4.
Ground on 131.4 TBM 1 Charlie Lima.
Alright, let's go and transfer that. And what we can do, what we can try is we can request to park. Let's see, so we're now tuned into ground. If we say taxi here, and then we have a couple of different options. Refueling, GA ramp. Let's say, let's go to the GA ramp if that's possible.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, request taxi to General Aviation ramp.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, taxi to General Aviation parking via taxiways Tango 2, Bravo 4.
See, that's super cool.
Taxi to General Aviation parking via taxiways Tango 2 Bravo 4 TBM 1 Charlie Lima.
So this is an airport that's for sure not handmade, but Pilot2ATC is able to get Navigraph information, and it says we go via Tango 2, which is this one, enter left on Bravo 4. So super accurate taxi instructions. And most of the time it gets it. Sometimes it gets bugged, but most of the time it works like this. So another level of immersion. So the built-in ATC is okay-ish to start with, but compared to a payware application like this for ATC, my goodness, there is no contest in terms of accuracy and if you want proper ATC guidance. So we go straight here. Now I don't think it's able to detect those trucks that are blocking you on the taxiway, but thankfully that guy turned off. So this is where we're headed, going straight all the way until Bravo 4 will return left. If we let the built-in ATC guide us, I bet they would say something like taxiway Alpha Bravo, completely wrong taxiways, instead of the right identifiers as in the charts. Alright, we are pretty fast here. 38 knots is probably a bit over speeding, just a tad, but just for the sake of illustration, wanted to really highlight this. This is the power of payware, guys. The power of third-party developers. As we mentioned, Microsoft Flight Simulator is an amazing platform, but what will truly make it shine and make it as realistic as possible are the third-party developers. And this Pilot2ATC is a perfect example of a third-party developer. In this case, it does not only sync up with Microsoft Flight Simulator, but in other simulators as well. Explain, I think Prepared as well. Yeah, very powerful tool. I really like using this. And with this, I can get proper ATC guidance without needing to get anxious about talking to other people in the radio. You know, that introvert problem. No, I guess it's a common problem. If you're new, as long as you're new, it's something that you'll have to overcome. But given the limitations of VATSIM, when it comes to timing, geography, and just being able to pause the game at any time, you know, just keeping it single player, not having to be fully committed to your flight, then Pilot2ATC surely handles that one. Now, unfortunately, because we're not working with built-in ATC, I don't think there will be someone who will meet us here, guiding us to the... Or actually, there is someone there. No, but they're not holding the stick, so I don't think that's for us. Well, we'll try anyway. We'll try. Let's see if they will... Oh yeah, I think that guy will guide us through. Maybe because I set my destination in the initial screen in the flight. That guy, yeah, he does guide me in. That's cool. Straight from here, bit left. There you go. It's straight. And stop. Perfect. That was amazing. By the way, I was also doing a flight in FS Economy, so all the third-party apps you can think of are synchronized and are not affecting performance at all. That is perfect. Alright, let's go ahead. Turn off inertial separator, turn off taxi lights, nav, strobes can go off. All these can go off as well. Looking good. Now we can move to low idle. Shut down the plane bit by bit by bit. Bleeds should go off as well, before I forget. Beautiful. Must be tired by now, that guy. What a hard worker. There you go. We didn't get automatic recognition from the sim though, but that's fine. Oh, look at that. Beautiful lighting. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that little showcase. Let me know if you want to see more detailed flights with Pilot2ATC. If you want to see a tutorial, more flights, or any other thing about that topic, I'd be happy to oblige. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day and looking forward to your comments. Clumsy flying, guys. Bye-bye.